So this is part 2 to breaking glass for a stained glass window. So we got it to a point where our glass scrap is much smaller than the piece we want to save, and so that is ideal. The next thing I'm going to get here is this deep curve. You always want to get your deepest, most concave curves first because they're the most difficult to cut out. And I'm going to do something called the balloon method. So if I do this all in one cut, this deep curve, there's a chance I could get it to break correctly, but better safe than sorry. So what I do kind of looks like a hot air balloon, and I'll show you what lines I'm going to cut by drawing them with a Sharpie. You don't have to draw them with a Sharpie. Some people do just to estimate where they should make their cuts. So I'm going to go ahead and do that. And I'm going to make it a shallow curve and make it a deeper curve as I go. So I'm going to do one shallow curve, and then I'm going to come in again. And if you did this several times, it would kind of look like a hot air balloon. And I'm leaving room for that tip right there. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to cut and break that inner curve, or begin to. As you're breaking glass, you may notice there's a lot of little shards. And we actually have some dustpans. So you can have a dustpan like this and just sweep up your area, because if you don't sweep up your area every once in a while, what's going to happen is those little shards of glass are going to get into your skin and cause you some pain there. Or the other thing that could happen is that those little shards of glass are actually scoring the back of your glass, and it can cause it to shatter. Because some people go to break their glass and it shatters all over the place, and they're like, what's going on? And that could be one of the cases. So here we go. Make this cut. Stop it with my thumb. And now, since this is a curved line and I don't have much glass to grip onto, this is when I'm going to want to switch to using my combo pliers. So here are my combo pliers. I'm going to come in to the middle of the curve. I don't want to go down here because then I'm going to put too much pressure on one side. So I want to come into the middle, just up to the score line, and I want to grip it firmly. I'm going to grip the other side. I'm going to pull down, and there you go. The piece broke off, and now I'm that much closer to my curve. So I'm going to come in again, but I'm going to leave still a little bit of space here. So I'm going to come in again and leave a little space here to leave room for that tip. So I'm coming all the way up to the paper as close as I possibly can. I'm going to take the back of it and tap it a few times. Again, same pair of pliers. Going to come up to the score line in the middle of the curve, and I'm going to pull, and I'll show you what happened here. So I got most of it here, but this didn't quite come off, but that's okay. I can just come back. You never want to rerun a line again. Once you make a score mark, you can't go over it again, because you can't repeat exactly what you did the following time. So it's a one-shot deal with glass. You make that score line one time. Right here, I don't know if it's visible on the camera, but you can see that I didn't quite get to the paper. So this is where these pliers are called grozers. And you don't want to do this a ton because it'll leave you a really jagged edge, but to do it a little bit is okay. So if this is so close that I can't make a score line anymore, grozing is when you nip off little bits of glass without actually making a score line. So I'm just going to come in to this and just bite that little piece off. And it's going to take a while before you get used to doing this, but just be brave and try it a couple times. Now I'm getting lots of glass down here, so I'm going to sweep up my area before I continue. And I'm just going to finish out this piece. if you're disposing of glass, you want to make sure that you're putting a trash can that's a glass only receptacle. Especially if you're in a public space, you want to make sure that there is a glass only bin, especially if you have a classroom, because if your janitors or whoever's taking out the trash might cut their hands. So we just have a plastic bin in our class that we get little shards of glass. We don't dump it in the trash, we dump it into the glass bin. If the scrap's big enough to use, then we have a sorting system we do where we just put it into a big bin with usable pieces and sort them out later. So I'm going to finish out this piece. I'm not going to mess with the tip on this side over here. I'm just going to leave it and take that for the grinder. But with the rest of it, I'm going to cut as many straight lines as possible. And I'm going to use the combo pliers for all these breaks because I don't have enough glass or enough space to grip it with the running pliers, even though that this is a straight line. I recommend when you start off to just doing each cut one by one. And watch the edges because they are sharp. Once you break the glass off of them, they are very sharp. So again, I always go to the middle, right up to the score line, break it off, and do the same thing here. And I could make all my score lines and just go ahead and snap, snap, snap if I wanted to, but now this line didn't want to go, so I'm going to make another score line a little bit closer to the glass, press down a little bit harder. So I didn't go over the same line. Actually, I just went ahead and got a little closer. There we go. So that you see I just got a little bit closer there. And I have one more piece. I don't really have room to score, so I'm just going to get that with the Grozers. And there we have a piece of glass cut out to the pattern. And I want to make sure that I'm as close to the paper as possible. Anything more than like 1/8 of an inch, or no, 1/16 of an inch is too much. You want to be very, very close. Now, because this tip is so sharp, I'm going to take care of this with the grinder, but if you left this much space all the way around your piece, you'd be at the grinder all day long. So you want to get as close as possible. If it's a little jagged, that's fine because we'll take care of that in the grinding video. So that's the conclusion to part 2 of breaking glass for a stained glass window.